Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another week of Jujutsu Kaisen, the Shibuya Incident arc. And um, I really don't know how I can make a video out of this, really, like an overview out of this. When I watched the episode for the first time, by the way, my name is Caesar Place. I keep forgetting to introduce myself in every video, but when watched this episode for the first time, I was surprised at how short it felt, and I don't mean that as criticism. I mean that as in it went so fast. It was so fun. Uh, I just had a blast watching this, and I just kept forgetting the time. I loved everything that was shown in here, and at the same time, like I said, it felt super short because of how fast things were moving, and that's really more of a compliment and as to how the episode went this week. I was stoked and a little bit worried after last week's incidents that the quality may or may not have dipped or may dip for this week's episode, but it did not. Like the quality of the episode stayed amazing, and animation looked good, soundtrack looked good, the scenery, cinematography looked great, the voice acting was on point, everything. Like this episode, like is easily for me a nine out of 10, almost borderline perfect episode, really. Um, Other than some minor nitpicky details, honestly, on the animation side. But that's just, again, on the minor nitpicky side of the animation side, I still would give this like a 9, borderline 10 out of 10 episode. It was so much fun. And the idea that that time just flew by while watching this just made it all the more satisfying, really. Especially knowing what's going to happen next week. But enough talk, enough chatter. Let's just go over real quick of over this episode. So we start off the episode where we last left off last week, and that is Toji entering the Dagon's domain. Now they give you like a small little mini minute refreshment of what was happening, and that is that Fushiguro was trying to basically open a hole so that they can let someone out, and basically they could cancel out his domain. Dagon at first thought that he was going to play a tug of war and see whose domain could overwhelm whose, but he was like pretty self-confident that his power could overwhelm Fushiguro, so he wasn't bugging too much about it until he realized that he was actually trying to make a hole for people to leave. To which, as the second that he snaps and realizes it, then and he goes for Fushiguro and Nanami and Naobito and Maki, a familiar face arrives. Again, Toji pops out of the hole, and it is told throughout that fight of Toji versus Dagon that the reason why he went after Dagon is because he was looking for the strongest at the time. And I guess Dagon, because he showed off his domain expansion, he was the one demonstrating the most accursed energy at the time. I'll talk about why I'm saying at the time later. So then, this is one of those situations as well where in the manga, again, some phrases that people anime only don't like hearing, but in the manga, the fight felt a lot shorter. It felt like, in my opinion, it felt like Toji went in, got his work done, and finished Dagon off. That's how it is. In 1, 2, 3, a couple of beatdowns. In the anime, they decided to prolong that fight a little bit more and, add some extra fight scenes. This is not a complaint. I love that they actually just showcase how much of a badass Toji is. And you could say that it would have showcased him being a badass even more if he could just finish Dagon in 1, 2, 3. However, I just love how, because of the anime extra filler content, so to say, I love how it basically just shows us to show you like that no matter what Dagon was going to do with his domain expansion, nothing was going to work on Toji. That's what I love about this so much. You could say that a character feels that much more powerful when they beat an opponent in as quick as possible. However, it's another thing when the opponent literally just takes all your hits and doesn't care and just beats you anyway. So it just shows that overwhelming factor, I want to say. And It's so cool to me how, again, this is also like part of the manga, so this wasn't filler, but it's so cool how when Toji went into the domain, first thing he went on is he reached for Playful Cloud and overwhelmed Maki, who says like, I can't believe he's overmatching me in raw natural strength, because Maki is known for being physically super strong. To which then takes Playful Cloud out of her hand, and we all know that Playful Cloud is as strong, is basically as powerful as its user is. So giving Playful Cloud to Toji is a super bad idea. He goes in, takes a bunch of one-hit kills from Dagon supposedly, and manages to survive all of them. Beautiful animation work in between, beautiful fight choreography, rather like quick slashes and jumping back and forth, but still like clear what was going on, and at the same time just super super cool in my opinion. And then you get to one of my favorite scenes, which is then you hear like the screeching sound, and you see that friggin' Toji decides to sharpen the edges of Playful Cloud, blunt metal edges. He decides to sharpen them into freaking pointy spikes and uses these as a weapon to stab through Dagon. That's crazy. That's crazy. And I also love how at some point Dagon tries to fly, and Naobito is like, oh, nah, F this. And he just goes over Dagon to stop him so that he can't run away from Toji. And how Toji also like uses his the Playful Cloud as a spear to lance himself upwards. Like he puts his sticks together, loose sticks, loose pieces of a spear. He puts them together. He puts them together. Sorry, and just like pressures them enough so that they can be unified and push himself out of the ground with it, which is physically crazy. um you can tell how hype I was about this fight in general. You also got a huge shout out also to Naobito for like understanding the seriousness of this situation. When Maki asks him like, "Yo, old man, who is this?" and he says it's Ghost because he knows who it is. He knows the consequences of this guy being here, or this ghost being here. So you transition afterwards to a little like very interesting moment where all of a sudden the domain is just gone. There's no like disappearing of a barrier or nothing. Like from 1 to 2, like the domain is gone, and you're just back in the subway station. And out of nowhere, again a 1-2 transition, Fushiguro just finds himself outside, and just glass pieces like breaking and falling off in front of him, and him saying like, "When did I get kicked out of the room?" Like it happened so quick that he couldn't even like we couldn't even realize when it happened. Toji's that fast, that strong, and it's also interesting to say that that Toji went for the person with the biggest cursed energy, with the strongest person, because I said earlier, actually, and I'm thinking about it right now as I'm making this video. Like he went after Dagon, from my assumption, because he was the strongest opponent at the time. However, what if he was actually going after Fushiguro? What if he was actually going after Megumin, because he was using his domain expansion, trying to use his domain expansion inside the barrier? What if he was actually the strongest and the biggest threat, and that's why he went after the strongest person? I'm just thinking about that now. I'm not sure. I didn't read too much into it, and I didn't do much research on it. But so don't chastise me if this is not true. But to me, that would be a super interesting theory, especially how we already know. And I'm up to date with the manga, so don't say any manga spoilers, please. But what if we also know that Sukuna is super interested in Fushigoro's body and his technique, his shadow technique. So yeah, that's something worth keeping in mind. We kind of finish off that Toji and Fushiguro segment right over there, only to go back to Maki, Naobito, and Nanami's group to see Jogo walk in, super sad, super upset. at the last remaining piece of his friend slash curse spirit, Dagon's hand being laying just on the floor, and he's obviously out for revenge, and he's actually obviously very upset because we've seen personalities from all three spirits, Dagon, Jogo, and Hanami. We've seen that they're trying to push and fight for the fact that they're not just these evil things, curse spirits. They're part of this world, and they're not just clueless, mindless, chaos producing creatures. So to see him acknowledge how far this fight is going and losing his fellow friends in a way, and just being super annoyed and upset about it, even though he has a blank expression on his face, is in a way touching in a way. And then you get to see how Nanami understands the severity of Jogo being here. I think he even says in the episode like, this one's a level stronger than Dagon. So, and I keep saying Dagon, it may be Dagon. Dagon, could be completely abusing the pronunciation of that. My apologies beforehand. So he freaks out a little bit. And then Jogo proceeds to do a crazy feature, and that is defeat all three of them, Maki, Nanami, and Naobito, all in one hit. Not one hit in total with all three of them in it, but like one hit per person. And that's just, again, animation top notch. I have the episode right here next to me. Animation top notch. Just to see Naobito use his technique, because he's considered the fastest sorcerer alive. To see him use his technique right over here. No, hold on, come on, speed up a little bit. No, come on, don't be like that. To see the speed that he uses to get to Jogo, and it doesn't even phase him. Like Jogo was prepared and just burns all three of them to the ground. Now we don't know their fate. They could be dead. They could be alive. I'm not gonna say anything. But yeah, no, one hit KO'd both mostly, and then Jogo realizes that something's wrong. He feels Sukuna somewhere, so he rushes to the location. And this is like a very excellent like transition of scenes of events of how it starts here, then moves over here because of this and this and this. Like it all keeps on moving quickly at a good pace and logical pace as well. So you have Jogo feeling Sukuna's cursed energy, and you realize that the two girls that Geto saved originally are feeding a finger to Juji to try and awaken Sukuna. Now, Jogo uses his technique on them, tries to kill them, but one of the girls uses her phone technique, which I still don't understand how both their techniques work to this point. I think they probably got explained, but I've never bothered to look into it because I never really cared about it. But I would actually have to research that a little bit, just because I'm a little bit curious now that they're dead after this episode. And I just out of curiosity I want to know, but they somehow survived Jogo's attack. And Jogo doesn't care at this point. She knows that they're too scared to get even close to him. That's just to, again, this episode highlights Jogo so much. Aside from Toji, it highlights Jogo's aura so much of how everyone is scared of him. And to think that in season 1, Gojo was just playing with this guy like it was nothing. And even in like the beginning of the Shibuya incident arc over here, where all three curse spirits, Shoto, Jogo, and Hanami, fought against Gojo, and he just played around with them like it was nothing. Just to think, it shows how freaking strong Gojo is, and why they need to get him back. So, where was I? So yeah, Jogo understands that these girls are too scared to do anything to him, and he decides he's gonna feed all the fingers, all 10 fingers that he has in his possession, to Juji so that he can awaken Sukuna. The explanation for that is that if Juji eats a finger every week, he will eventually be able to adapt so that Sukuna can take the body over fully 100%. However, if he takes them all at once, then that could create problems, and Sukuna has the potential to be able to take over and potentially create a pact with Yuji so that he could take over the body completely. Now, Sukuna most likely has other alternatives and alternative motives that he wants, other plans that he wants to push out, and it may or may not have to do with Yuji. So we don't know much about it yet. We'll see in the future. But to see Jogo finally fulfill what he wanted, and that is to revive Sukuna, and the presence of Sukuna is just, again, this is not some Kurama and Naruto relationship where one is eventually going to learn to love the other. Minor spoiler, it's not one of those. Sukuna is evil so far as I know, and he does not give an F. He is there for his own benefits, for whatever he wants to do, whatever pleases him, was the only thing that matters. So as soon as the final finger is eaten by Juji, and you have this very cool transition, which is Jogo losing an arm. Like he realizes something, and then you just pan over. Again, cinematography top notch in this episode. You pan over and you see like Jogo lose, like without, with like a hand chopped off, and then he looks at Yuji's body and sees Sukuna is awakened, and he's like, "Yo, get the F off me." So then all three of them, the two girls and Jogo, are all like in panic, full on panic mode of like, oh my, like this guy, his cursed essence, his energy essence is just overwhelmingly is scary. And he says something about I love his phrasing as well here, mind you. He says your heads are too high, and they all three of them knew to bow down, and before Sukuna releases a slash that would have otherwise killed them. But and then again, interesting phrasing where Jogo decides to go on one knee while the other girls decide to bow their heads down all the way down to the floor, and Jogo gets the top of his head, like the top area of his head, just cut off. And Sukuna says like, "Hey yo, you should respect me a little bit more. You should be bowing down with your head to the ground, not on one knee." So that just shows how crazy evil this guy is and how full of himself he is. And yeah, no, it's great. Like the two girls, they Tsukuna is interesting because he gives them one finger's worth of time to talk about what they why they awaken him. I love how that's how he measures how he's going to do them a favor, by giving them one finger worth of time, which is basically what they gave him, what they used to awaken him, and then they basically are asking him to go and defeat Geto, because the new Geto, fake Geto, because obviously he took over again, like the cursed spirit took over Geto's body, and they're annoyed and upset that Geto's body, which they absolutely love, because Geto saved their lives when they were younger, is being right now tarnished, and they ask Sukuna to go and kill that cursed spirit. So, and they also phrase something super interesting, which is Gojo killed Geto originally, and that's why they hated Gojo first. However, they can accept that, they were willing to accept that Gojo killed Geto because Gojo was Geto's best friend. So they were okay with it for that reason only, but they still hated Gojo, but they were okay that he did it. However, this cursed spirit, whatever they did to Geto's body, they're not okay with it, and they're just rolling with it for now. But then you have Sukuna taking it the wrong way and seeing it as it being an order, and decides to kill both of them. He's like, yo, you can't be ordering me around. And then boop, one of them, the other one, before she gets to use her technique, she gets sliced up. And then Sukuna asks Jogo now, like, what is it you want then? And Jogo simply says, nothing. My goal was just to revive you and to have you here on the world. Because he plans on bringing the world of cursed techniques, cursed spirits back to the modern era. And Now that Gojo's sealed, is extra helpful because more curse bearers can run loose. Sukuna, the king of all curses, is out here. However, he doesn't want anything else, and he explains his goal as to freeing Sukuna. And Sukuna himself even says, "All right, cool. If that's the case, that's fine. But how about this? How about if you are able to land one hit on me? I'll work for you guys. I'll do what you guys tell me to do. How about we do that? How about let's make it a little interesting." And that's where Jogo sees the opportunity of, okay, this is game on. This he's willing to risk it all to make this happen, his goal happen, and that is a world full of cursed spirits. So he's gonna risk everything to get Sukuna to obey them, and he only needs to land one hit on Sukuna. That's all it needs to be. So next week's episode is gonna be super interesting, super tight. I'm super excited because from the previews, which I normally don't look at, it seems like we're gonna get the Fushiguro, the Megumin and Toji fight spliced in with some of the Sukuna versus Jogo fight. I don't know how they're gonna do it because again, I've been trying to stay away from the manga, trying not to read too much into it, so that a lot of these episodes come off as a surprise still. So I don't recall how fast the fight can be, because when you look at it in manga format, sometimes these fights can look dragged out. Sometimes they can look like they're because they have to draw sometimes individual moves for certain per panel. Like let's say if I'm doing like a punch, you're gonna have one panel that's this, and the next panel is gonna be this, and maybe this. So it's like that's 3 panels already, and while you're reading it, that could feel slower or faster. While in the anime, in the actual movement, it's gonna be super quick, like half a second maybe. So I don't recall how fast these fights are. For all we know, the both fights are half an episode long each. We shall see, but the next upcoming fights, these 2 fights that we're gonna see next week, they're gonna be crazy. I'm excited. I'm super excited. Next week, I cannot wait. I almost feel like prepping a day, like get my setup ready, like turn all the lights off, get some food ready, get some popcorn or something, because I feel like I really, really want to enjoy this next week's episode. And mind you, this episode already, I had a blast with. Yeah, no, it's cool, man. Like it's super super cool. I had an entire blast with this episode. I cannot wait. But enough of me fangasming with this episode. What do you guys think of this week's Jujutsu Kaisen episode? What do you enjoy about it? The voice acting, the animation, the speed, the fights, the characters. What's going on with y'all in this season so far? Because it's just been a crazy fun season in my opinion. I cannot complain. Season 1, season 2, and even the next season, which I'm not gonna talk about, it's gonna be fun. So leave your thoughts down in the comments down below. Hit the like button, please. It helps out the channel and this video a lot. Sorry if I blabber on too much sometimes with these episodes, but as you can tell, I get super excited with them. And subscribe, please. It helps the channel out a whole lot too. And maybe I'll see you guys next week for next week's episode review. God, I hope I don't make this a 40-minute episode video next week because I'm so excited. Thank you. Have a wonderful day or night, and I will see you guys next time. Caesar Plays Live. Bye.